Hello, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to tie a variation. Well, it's actually how I tie a Midge imitation. Got a 20 hook here. Not much to this fly. Come in here, grab a little black hackle. I want this tail long because, well, the natural midge does have very long tails. About a hook and a half length is how long you want this. This midge is very high floating. It's impossible to sink. It does have a slightly beefier body than most other midges. Okay, your hackle. I took from the back, a cape or bottom of a saddle. A very large hackle, and I trimmed it down with a pair of scissors. And I added some taper to that. That's going to be my hackle. And you don't want that to be very long. But you want to create air bubbles is what you want it to do. I'm going to take some black dubbin. Any type will work. Going to build up a decent body. This is mink dubbing dyed black. Going to wrap your hackle. You can see how nicely this wraps. No problems at all. Okay. Just do a few wraps to secure it. Okay, go to your cape. You're going to select a pretty small feather. And this should be your, this feather is not going to be trimmed. So if you got a 20, try a 20 dry fly hackle. Let me tie this in. Just don't want to tie in. There we go. This fly does not need to look too neat by any means. And you're only going to do 2 or 3 wraps of that hackle. Okay, come up behind the hackle. I have some large pearl tinsel. Tie that in. And you're tying all this in behind the hackle. Got some black foam now. Just going to trim the end of that. Do a few wraps. This is also a good way to imitate, a small caddis. This style of tying. You got a wet finish in front of that, but you still want to be behind that hackle, which can be a little tricky. See what happened there? So I'm going to try to get that hackle back. Well, I'll just have to live with that. Oops. Try to push that with my thumbnail. That'll happen sometimes. It's probably an easier way to do it. It's just the way I did it. Turn that off a little, and there you go. Very good little midge pattern. It's big. I'll tell you what, it's probably not as small as a midge should be, but for the beginner angler, even for me, I don't like to fish very small midge imitations. It's good, and it produces a lot of fish. Very high floating. Works all the time. Thanks, excuse me, for joining me, and please comment.